We've helped him go from 2k and then he's hit a 15k month in that time and consistently above that 10k mark.
I think January I had, in terms of visits and income, I had a record day, I had a record week and a record month.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
So I had 43 new patients last month.
Because the thing is that for someone to build a practice, the stats are you need 20 a month. You're already hitting that mark organically, and then you've just got us on top, which is like the cherry on top. It's such a beautiful place to be, and that's because of probably the mindset that you have. Hello. I am here with one of our wonderful clients, Austin Lawrence, a familiar face on the testimonials, the YouTube channel. He owns a clinic called Wallingford Chiropractic and been with us for a year and 3 months now. So a client that's been extremely loyal and very patient with us throughout the years as well as we've grown and developed and got better, and who's had a very good amount of success. So in May, he had a record week, which is 4k in a week. And today, he potentially might do a record day, which is 2k. We've helped him go from 3k. Oh, well, actually, in the month before he worked with us, it was 2k in that month. And then he's hit a 15k month in that time and consistently above that 10k mark all through 2026 so far. Austin, welcome. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Very good. Loving
It's
the
funny.
warm weather.
It has been incredible, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really interesting because I have another testimonial from you from, I don't know, a year ago or something. And on our first ever, and maybe I can include the clip, potentially I might, on our first ever strategy call, you might not even remember this, you said, I look forward to giving you a testimonial.
Yeah.
I just love looking back at it. It just makes me really happy seeing it. And it's so cool that a year and 3 months later, we're still together. We've been very consistent going through and just optimizing, being able to make sure you can consistently grow. And I've seen you develop a lot as a business owner, your mindset, and you've obviously seen us change along the way. I don't know if my intro was sufficient, but have you got anything else you'd want to add before we dive into all the secrets and nuggets you're going to be able to give everyone?
No, that's sufficient. That's fine with me.
Amazing. Well, I think what's going to be the main things I want to talk to you about is two things. Your process, it's like the tactics, but more importantly also the mindset. I love your mindset. We now your strategist is Bailey, so you're working very closely with Bailey now. But I remember when we were doing it together, we were always just talking about mindset and strategy, and I love how you've developed as we've gone along, so we'll be able to get into that as well, which is going to be nice. And also you might be able to share some because I know you do, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you do seminars and you host them yourself, is that right?
I did, but I've stopped doing them.
Okay, well, but you still got some good wisdom to share then. I think definitely about that, which you can give some light to everyone, because I know that associates will probably watch this, mainly clinic owners to be fair, which is definitely who you're going to be able to help the most. So yeah, let's kind of dive into the first one. So I guess over the years I've seen, a year and a bit with you, I've seen a big change in the way that you do your initial consultation process, your day one, your day two. You've also learned some new techniques. Can you talk me through how you're doing that, and who's been the people that have given you insight into, I've changed that because of this person, I've changed that because I do it this way because this person told me to do that, and just talk people through how you're doing it and what sort of plans you're recommending and your philosophy behind it as well.
So the previous clinic I worked at, they were really hot on day one, day two. Attended Ryan Ryder's day one, day two course. The boss of the clinic, she used to teach it. So I had 4 years there, 5 years. 5 years where it's instilled to me. So that was what I knew, and it worked very well. I mentored with Tim Young. His was very different. When I opened my own clinic, I did more his style, and my rough conversion went up, but it just didn't flow well. So I kind of did a watered down, not watered down in terms of less info, but something that had to be congruent, because the reality is there's an element of sales, and it's not wrong per se, but there's some stuff where I go, I don't really like doing that. So I kind of found a middle ground that worked for me and started converting at a higher rate. I also spoke to Lydia Evans after you interviewed her and said, hey, you got 10 minutes. She said absolutely, and it ended up being about 40. She was doing similar size plans, and she'd had I think the month she'd gone up to like a 17k month. And I was like, well, I want some of that, but I have to do stuff that's congruent with me. You know, I don't want to be selling, you know, absolutely huge plans. You know, I could, you know, I know how to like press the right buttons and convert people, but you know, it has to be ethical for me. And she was doing similar size plans, and I was like, okay, we're good to go. And then my Roth conversion went up from that. And then, but I don't actually recommend any more than 12 right now. And
which is like in congruent with what the GCC requirements based on what happened in January is.
I mean, I don't think they want you. I mean, you can recommend more than 12, but they don't want you taking more than 12 payments up front.
Yeah.
Somebody at some point is probably gonna, you know, be the scapegoat because they're a bit vague, their new rules. But I found if I recommend someone twice a week for a month, once a week for a month, then they get the results. And also I started doing the zone technique, and
this is what I wanted you to touch on. I wasn't sure if you were going to.
The technique is really, really good, but it's all the metaphysical stuff behind it. So you can do any technique you like. The technique. So I was a technique whore. I've done lots and lots of courses, and I was proud of that. But the technique is just a delivery system. If you can access someone's subconscious, give the right healing image, it doesn't matter what you do technique-wise. You can do a McTimoney toggle, you can do activator, SOT, Thompson. And I'm not saying, you know, your technique is important. Do a technique you like, but if you give the right healing image, the technique is nothing more than a delivery system. And then the results go off the chart. And
was that something that you... Who did you do that with? Like, who was the person that you trained with?
The training's online, but then you can go to in-person seminars. So it's a guy in the States called Pete Goldman, Dr. Pete Goldman.
Yeah.
And
was it so you did it online?
Yeah. So here's the kicker. At first, you're kind of like, wow, I'm going to get people better quicker. I'm potentially going to see them less often and earn less money. And the course was $2,000. And then you've got to wrestle with this thing that I can get people better results and quicker, but the reality is I'm running a clinic, and you know, before I pay myself, I've got some fixed costs. So I kind of wrestled with that, and then in the end I was like, I've just got to go with what feels right here, and it's been fine. The worst months I've had, I've broken even after paying myself. Another months, you know, it's, you know, like there's several £1,000 profit. So across, you know, across the whole year I've done it, I'm up. So can't argue with that.
It's very interesting because you're the only person I've ever had a conversation with that's been open about that. But I imagine it's something that a lot of people contend with. Is like, I could get people better quicker, but then that means that I might not be able to pay my expenses and feed my family and so it's a very interesting and like weird thing to contend with, and I think you've found a really great spot. yes
because definitely. I want people to get amazing results, you know, and I want a reputation as someone that gets that, but there's the potential that you'll learn less. But
you haven't found that?
No, but if you think the flip side though, it's like if I get lesser results and I take longer, I get to earn more.
Doesn't really make sense, right?
No. But I just went, right, I'm going to run with it. I like results, that's why I got into chiropractic, and haven't looked back. So getting people with fibromyalgia, had a young lady recently see me, 2 adjustments, 40% better. With something as complicated as fibro. Had a 78-year-old lady with sciatica, 80% better after 1 adjustment. So I've had psoriasis clear up, hay fever, gut issues, all weird stuff. And it's not by accident, because you understand healing, you can direct that stuff. It's not by accident.
So it's so interesting, and it's true. Like you're like on the business side, you've still been able to grow, and obviously if you get people better results, you're going to get better reviews and better referrals. Have you seen that? I haven't actually checked personally.
So I had 43 new patients last month.
Yeah.
And it was 50% kind of referral online bookings and 50 from your leads.
Yeah. Which is great, like, because the thing is that for someone to build a practice, the stats are you need 20 a week. 20 a month. Sorry, 20 a month. And so you're doubled that, and you're doing that organically. You're already hitting that mark organically, and then you've just got us on top, which is like the cherry on top. It's such a beautiful place to be, and that's because of probably the mindset that you have.
Yeah, so it was like, leap of faith. It's like, I know it'll work its way out, and then just ran with it and haven't really looked back.
So you're happy you did? Because I remember you... I had a call with someone that does zone technique, and then you said, I was thinking about doing it, and then you decided to do it. And so you're really happy that you made that decision then, are you?
Absolutely, yeah. There's no one that walks in now with a musculoskeletal condition where I know I can't help them.
I feel like that must be one of the most important things to it, though, right? Like just that belief in yourself, and then you can transfer the energy, I guess is the way you would do it.
So unless they've got a broken back, unless they fractured their spine, or there's some pathology going on, you can help them. And I mean, but at a higher level, like chiropractic's phenomenal, just normal chiropractic, absolutely phenomenal. It's my favourite therapy. But then doing the zone stuff, and it's not the zone technique per se, even though it's a very good technique, it's understanding the principles of healing, the metaphysics behind it. Then if anyone comes in, anything musculoskeletal, you can help. But you can help at a higher level than, just chiropractic on its own.
And then, so since doing this, you've got smaller plans. You're seeing people in less intensely to start, but you find that you're maintaining them, and like your retention rates are really good. Like, what's happening after the patients finish their kind of first phase?
So it might be they might see me 12 visits. Let's say they've got 3 or 4 things going on. I'm going to recommend 12 visits. I've had some people, they go, I'm better after, or 78% better after a single adjustment. I'll say, okay, that's fine. And my ROF ends up being, okay, that's outstanding, that's way above the average. We're going to celebrate that. And I'm like, see me weekly until you're better. Well, you're better when your zones are clear, you feel good, you function good. Might take 2 more visits, it might take 6. And then at that point, we'll talk about coming in for tune-ups, tune-up visits. So I'll see them 5-6 times, and then they'll stay for maintenance.
And you're finding that like the retention is really good right now? Like, is it just literally the results that's driving that retention and that maintenance base to grow, or is it have you got any specific things that you're saying, or any email sequences that you're sending? Like, how are you helping keep your retention and maintenance base?
I've not sent mass email since I've opened. I've got no plug-in. You can plug it. I don't even. You get plugins like SurveyMonkey and all stuff. I've got nothing like that.
We probably will be able to help you out of this soon, but we can talk about that another time.
I'm not very good at tech, and I just hate it. So retention's good. I just say to the person, so concepts are really important in the zone technique. So if somebody says, can I come in once a month? Absolutely. If they say, can I come in every 2 months? You go, absolutely. Obviously, if they come in and then the last 2-3 weeks they've been absolute, gone backwards, then that what's the word? Frequency needs to shorten. But most people, I've got some people see me every 3 months. A lot of chiropractors go, oh my god, they're going to be undo everything. But if you give the person the right healing image, they're good.
So it's a concept I don't really hear too much of. So you like to give, and is that something that helps with, this is more just for my own curiosity to be honest, that's something that helps with the healing process, giving someone the freedom to pick themselves how frequently they want to come?
There's a little bit of give and play with that. I recommend monthly, and I say to people, that's what I did before as a chiropractor. It's what I recommend, personally, professionally, what the research says. But if they go, yeah, but can I stretch it out? And I go, let's see. If I try and convince them, let's say somebody, I was at a seminar, Bill Esteb, he was speaking, he's a chiropractic advocate, but he's not a chiropractor. And he said you have to see things from a patient's perspective. We see it through a chiropractic lens. And we just, talk BS as far as they're concerned. The patient is going to do whatever they think is the most logical, whether it actually is or not. I never used to get it when a patient said, no, I just want to feel like I need the adjustment. I want to ache a little bit. And I'm thinking, well, I never want to ache. I want to get before that. But for them, that's logical. Hey, look, I spent a chunk of money on getting better. I just want to feel like I need it to justify the cost. And then now I go, that's fine, I honour that. So for persons like, can I come less frequently? What am I going to do? Like, argue with them, trying to convince them, and they go, oh, well, he's just after my money. Or do I go, hey, let's see. And if someone goes 6 to 8 weeks, they come in and go, yeah, I felt really good. The last couple of days, just aware I need adjusting. And I'm like, hey, we're good. That's the right frequency. Now, the flip side of that is I had someone this morning, she went monthly, and then she's regressed slightly. I've gone, right, we're going back. We're coming in next week, and then we go back to fortnightly. So it's not just, let someone go as long as they can and hope for the best. There is course correction in that.
I love it. It's such an interesting way of looking at it. I hear it all. I don't really have like my own perspectives on it because me not being a chiropractor, I'm not really allowed to, but I like hearing all the different perspectives of it. I think it's interesting as well, like looking at it from a patient's perspective. I think that's why it's helped us with our marketing as well, because obviously the team aren't chiropractors on our side, and so we can just look at it from a patient perspective, which is what we need to do and refine it in the right way, rather than like I'll jump on a call with a chiropractor and they'll be like, oh, I want to be really technical with it and like get them into like wellness straight away before they even come in about their problem, but obviously it's hard to do that and find those patients beforehand, whereas most people are just coming in because they have a problem.
Yeah.
Mindset's a big thing for you. Is there anything you're doing before your consultations or like in your spare time to help you with your mindset? I don't know, like for example, me, every day in the morning, and I remember mentioning this to another client on a previous interview, the meditation. I've been consistent with that actually. So 10 minutes every morning, I'll do that, and it helps me with just, I guess, my mind. But have you got anything like that?
Yeah, I just started meditating again.
Have you?
Yeah, but like I used to try and force everything. It was like I must do X amount of minutes and this, and then it's like just kind of do it and find a quiet place, even if it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes. I used to be very kind of try to always be regimented on stuff, and now it's like just go with the flow. Bit kind of like practice.
That's kind of like how you practice.
Yeah, a bit more now. Less kind of, I don't know, kind of just to kind of know in and just trust the process a bit more than try and force things. Yeah, that comes with a bit of experience and a bit of letting go.
It's interesting that like when I've spoken to a lot of successful chiropractors, but we've done some interviews with some of them, and we did one with Jake Neal, and he had a very similar thing.
Watched that, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, just watched it last week.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed, because it was one of my favourites. It was interesting because he has a similar sort of mindset. I don't know if you resonated with some of the things that he was saying.
Yeah, I know Jake as well. Yeah, I've met him a fair few times. But he did some ayahuasca. But he did some ayahuasca experiences to do that, didn't he? I might have to go to Peru.
Yeah, maybe we should do a trip. We should all just go and have some tea. It was very interesting. I was so surprised when that was his answer. I loved it. It was great. But I do think that it's interesting that he has a similar perspective in terms of like going with the flow as to what you kind of have a little bit now as well.
Which is weird because I like things to be not like I'm a control freak or anything, but I like to know what's going to happen because it's safe. Whereas, ever since I opened my own clinic, there's been an element of bit by bit letting go. Things will work themselves out, and I've got no evidence. I do now, but at the time there was no evidence. And slowly and bit by bit, I kind of let go a bit more. Still, you're doing the stats, still doing patient consults and report findings, but knowing that, if you just let go and not force it, things will be all right. And I've, in that time, I've had, I think January I had, in terms of visits and income, I had a record day, I had a record week and a record month. And then I had a record month record week last week or the week before. So things are looking up. And in that time, I've managed to pay 12k in debts off and put 10k aside. So
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, so it's all good.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I think I've heard this definition of manifestation, which is that it's shifting internally to a degree where you're no longer emotionally dependent on reality's change to get what you want. So like, again, it's just like detaching from reality, going with the flow a little bit more, just having a lot of faith that you will be able to get there, which is kind of similar to what you
and
went
that
through.
links in with a lot of the zone technique stuff, because
I feel like it is metaphysics stuff,
because it is the
isn't it?
metaphysics of it. And you know, everything I've done in my life up until then, well, I'd read a lot of stuff, but I'd never put it in practice, so it was easy once I had done the zone stuff, and then it was like surrendering to it, if that makes sense.
I want to loop back because you have had like a big transformation, and also I'm really happy that you've like been able to get some money in the bank and get the debts paid off, because I remember on our first call that was like the main motivation to start in the clinic, and you've had a really, really impressive journey. So now, because you have a very established clinic now, which is really cool, but back then a year and 3 months ago, what do you wish you knew then? That, yeah, I know, the classic one that you know now.
Yeah, you make some mistakes in business, it's inevitable. I noticed a few things quick, and I changed my ROFs within a few months, and that made a big difference. So, if anything, but would it make or break me? Because I think the first month I worked with you guys, I broke even. The next month I made profit. So would it have made a big difference? Not sure. Kind of happy where I'm at. So it's like, if I'm happy now, why would I change anything?
Oh, that's such a nice response. What
Because
a cool response.
What led me to this? I'm like, I can take time off when I want. It was my wedding anniversary Friday, so I took Friday off. Went to London with my wife. Life's pretty damn good. I'm saving money most months. I can take time off when I want. Everything I've done, since I opened my clinic has led up to where I am now, and I'm happy. So I probably wouldn't change anything.
What a lovely response. I love that. It's a good mindset. Another thing that's a good mindset that you have is, because people probably heard you throughout this call, and again, this is something that's unique to you that I haven't had many conversations where people look at their business this way. You've said multiple times throughout this interview about breaking even. Like, some months I'll break even, sometimes I make savings. Could you elaborate on that perspective? Because potentially some people might not 100% know what you mean by break even.
That's after paying myself as well.
Yes,
so that's
exactly.
not just covering the costs. So for me, breaking even is paying myself what I need to pay myself each month. Paying my receptionist, covering all my bills, so everything. So in a bad month, I'm not able to save anything, but all my bills are covered, including paying me. But when I've had good months, after tax, I've put like 4k away in 1 month. Yeah.
How nice is that?
It's nice.
Yeah, and especially now, like, debt's off, and then it's just like, can now start saving, because I know you've got some big goals coming up, and we'll probably go through that in a second. Because you had that from the very start. You're like, as long as it's like breaking even, we can get there pretty quickly, I'm happy. Where did you get that from?
Well, we had these conversations, and I'm happy to tell people, I went insolvent in the past. So there was a little bit of hang up about money, and then I was trying not to be greedy too soon, but at the same time, not greedy, but you know what I mean. I didn't want to make it all about just chasing money, because I've done that in the past and been no better off for it. I wanted to have a practice that served me in terms of was fulfilling, was getting the results I wanted, helping people, and also gave me the lifestyle that I wanted. And the lifestyle I want is mostly revolved around spending time with my family and taking time off when I want, and it's doing that. And I knew that worst case scenario, let's say I broke even several months in a row, I know just by chipping away each month that at some point it's gonna I'll be in profit, because X amount of people will convert into care, X will convert into maintenance. So I was taking a long, longer, what's the word? view at it, sort of looking at it from a years down the road.
Long-term perspective.
Long-term, looking at long term. So, and I worked in a clinic before where it grew really quick and then it wasn't sustainable. So I was happy for things just to kind of do that.
Which is definitely what you've done.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see. What is the goal for you, say in the next year? I'm not sure actually if you want associates or anything like that going forward.
I'm not too bothered, to be honest. I like simple. I'm pushing 50. It's like I'm at a phase of my life where I want things. Don't get me wrong. I still want to see more people. I want to earn more money. My youngest son, he's going to be starting a sports science course in September, and he said that he wants to be some type of manual therapist. So there's room to build another therapy room here. So maybe a few years down the line we get another therapist in. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, but by that time, I'm going to be, big part of my patient base is going to be maintenance. And then, what I've seen, other clinics is, they grow and go, I can reproduce this, but then you've only got X amount of new patients, and they're spread out between more than one person. So if it happens, it'll happen organically, but I'm not going to force it.
I think that that'll be a really nice stage to get to, and I always do warn my clients to make sure they have a good base, and they have a good war chest as well, like you mentioned, the savings you've got as well. So the war chest is like the amount of money you have saved for rainy days practically.
Yeah.
But if you can just be maintenance and be busy, and then from there you bring in someone else and they can just get all the new patients coming to the practice, you're going to be in a golden spot.
Yeah. So that'd be the aim. So I'm not going to force it, but if it happens and it happens organically, then good.
What's the revenue goal in say 12 months time?
So I hit 15 a fair few times, but I spoke to someone recently with a similar sized clinic, and they're turning over 20k a month. So
it's not Joe, is it?
Joe did do that, but it was the guy, Jonathan Gleed, who got me into.
Yeah.
And he's getting people better in literally a handful of visits, and he's still turning over, from what he was saying, those sort of numbers. They're still seeing well over 100 a week. So it's possible even with small plans.
Yeah, that was actually the guy who introduced me as well to the zone, and then that's how we started speaking about it originally. I don't know, a year ago or so. There's scope. So yeah, I think so. You think 20k a month then would be a nice. And I think that for you as well, you'd be busy, but you probably won't be destroying yourself at that point. I don't think.
Yeah. Now here's the good thing though. So there was a point where if you get busy, it does take a toll on your body. Whereas, I said with the zone technique, it's all about concepts and the healing image. You can do any technique. So I've stopped doing side posture for the pelvis. 99% of the time I'll use SOT blocks, and I get the same results, if not better. And if I've got someone who's a bit older, I'm going to use an activator. So the toll on my body is negligible, so I can keep doing this. I can see more people and do this for the foreseeable.
I know a lot of people that probably need to hear that, because a lot of people that really I speak to a lot of people who they really have a big toll on their body.
And I've done a lot of adjusting courses, and it's not like a technique issue. It's the fact that if you put a force into someone, there's a reaction force. Some of it is going to come back to you. If you do that enough times, at some point, you're going to notice it. And that was another reason I stopped teaching technique. When I realised your technique isn't as important as people make out, I'm not going to teach it, knowing that what I was previously teaching isn't, factual. Does that make sense? So
I was curious if that was the reason why. That is why.
If your technique doesn't matter as much, and the reality is we all focus on our technique, we agonise over it, we spend a lot of time honing it and getting improvement in it, and spend a lot of money, and then to realise it's not as important as we think, it hurts your ego a bit. But then you get to the other side and you go, okay,
So
fine,
honest.
I can change something else. If the healing image is the most important thing and the physical technique is just a delivery system, then it doesn't matter what delivery system I use. So probably half my patients I adjust with an activator. 99% get their pelvis is adjusted with the SOT blocks. I used to always have a very low grade shoulder problem on the right side. I have injured it badly twice. It's fine now, doesn't hurt at all. So that's also another benefit of that.
I probably won't go down the rabbit hole.
I can do this until the day I drop.
That's really cool, because I literally today was speaking to someone who's like trying to build a business. So obviously a business is a profit-making enterprise that works without you, because they don't want to practice anymore, not because they don't like it, but because their body can't do it anymore. And so it'd be interesting to see if that's maybe a way that where people who don't want to have to build a business to make money, who want to just see patients, but they don't want to have the toll on their body, that's a nice little in-between spot. Amazing stuff. Well, Austin, I know we have a couple more minutes here. Now, the final thing I would like to go through with you, if it's okay, is the part where you sell everyone on what we do. which is where I do a small little, just a couple questions, just so people can know about your experience with Align Flow, how you found it, and would you recommend us, that sort of stuff. So let's go through that, if that's okay with you, is it?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm springing this on you a little bit. I assume maybe you were expecting it a bit, maybe Bailey told him. So the first one is a very open-ended one. How has your experience been with Align Flow so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been here like early days and I've seen you grow at the same rate as I have. I was trying to do the leads myself. I lost money on that. So like I don't like doing stuff or want to do stuff that takes me away from the everyday stuff that I need to do in the clinic. And I'm not a marketer, and I was like, I hate that stuff. So I just find someone that can do that for me, and I did.
I actually forgot you started doing the course yourself, right? Or like you fat.
And I started early on. I started doing the course, but as I got busier, I was like, and I didn't enjoy it, but I did it, and I didn't want to give it to my receptionist. I was like, this sucks. I can't give it to them. But I did what I needed to do to get busier, and then I think you said to me on a call, you went, you do realise you're our only client that doesn't do the paid call service. I was like, okay, cool, we're good to go on that. and again, it was like that letting go. Yeah, but I know that if I do the calls, if I make X amount of calls, X amount will be booked in, and X will convert. So I had to let go of that, because there was a little bit of, well, it's out of my control, but it worked out.
How does it feel, like the flow just coming in without you doing anything after having that experience of doing it yourself?
Yeah, it's nice. it's a massive headache, because I was like, I don't have a landline. I've got a company that generated a landline that goes straight to the mobile. So I was taking the work mobile home and I was calling people at night and then kind of going, oh shit, I've got to do this. Been at work for several hours and now I've got to do calls, where I was doing them on my lunch break. And it's time where you should be kind of, a bit of downtime. So yeah, it was what needed to be done at the time, but I'm glad I don't do it anymore.
I think it's a really nice perspective that you have there. It's like, we still have people occasionally. We always have about 10% of our clients on the not doing calls. Like, so we don't handle the calls for them, and it's just because they're in that early phase. Usually, is why. Like even the biggest practices we work with, who have CA teams of 6, we'll still handle the calls because of exactly what you said. It's just kind of not fair giving them the that sort of work to do. And I do really appreciate the kind words on that one there. I can't know the answer to this one anyway, but I'm just going to set myself up for a nice a nice one from you, which is, what would you say to someone who's considering working with Align Flow but still is a little bit unsure?
Well, I did mine off a referral. Who was it?
Joe.
Joe did it, and then I went on your website, and then I saw about 3 or 4 chiropractors I knew, so I messaged them. They're like, yeah, go for it. So I said the same thing, and then I paid up front and I put it on a credit card. And I made the money back in 2 weeks.
How
so
cool
it was
is that?
a no-brainer. again, it was like, oh crap, I've got to do this. But yeah, made my return in 2 weeks, so never looked back.
Yeah, and I think it's because there's a few people in Tim Young's group. Joe, I think Simon. Did you speak to Simon? Simon Goff?
Yeah, Simon was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done a client interview with us as well. Who referred you to us. Any final words to Austin? It doesn't need to be to do with us. It can be to do with anything. If you have anything to promote as well, it's obviously the floor is yours, sir.
No, nothing to promote.
Okay.
No, I don't teach any courses anymore. As I said, I couldn't, in all honesty, take money from chiropractors if I was teaching stuff that could still teach very good adjustment. But once I realised the adjustment is not as important as the healing image, it's like I'm not going to teach it anymore.
I appreciate you coming on, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Extremely, you're very, very welcome. Extremely wise words. I love the mindset. It's I always enjoy our check-in calls and our catch-ups like this. It's been nice because we haven't spoken in a while. It feels like it's probably been like 3-4 months. Not because we've just left Austin. He has one of our client success managers, Bailey, speaks to him I think bi-weekly or monthly. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, sir. It's been nice to see you as always, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Cheers.